So when I was a little boy, my dad worked for the National Security Agency, and he got an assignment to go to England. And so he packed up the whole family and we all moved to England. And in England, one of the pastimes that they have over there is playing darts. And they don't use little soft tip darts, they use real darts like this. And they have about an inch long metal tip on the end. See that? So they use these real darts and they're pretty good at it. And when we were kids over there, it became a hobby of ours. We got pretty good at it, at throwing darts, and we all kind of had our own. And we came home from England, so we were over there for 2 years. When we came home, one day I came home from school and went up to my room, and my brother had his darts out. And I walked into the room, was like, hey, how's it going, whatever. And he said to me, you better run. And I knew what was coming, but at the time I tried to play it cool. I tried to play cool like it wasn't really coming, that I just played cool, because I knew if I took off running, if I panicked, if I did anything, I was getting a dart. And so I played cool. And he says, you better run. And I said, come on, man, that's funny. Okay, what do you want to do? Like, I tried to change the subject. And then he said one more time, you better run. And I said, I'm not running. And he threw the dart, and it went through my big toe in my shoe and stuck to the wood floor in our house. And I reached down and I grabbed that dart, and when I stood up, he had another dart in his hand, and he said, you better run. So I ran. I turned around, I took off down the hallway, because we had this long wooden hallway that was upstairs where our bedrooms were. And I took off running down that hallway, and I got almost to the end of that hallway, and all of a sudden I felt right in the back of my shoulder. Another dart stuck me in the back. And I kept running. I pulled it out and I kept running. I think that my brother liked to see the way that things worked and what would happen in certain situations, the way things worked. So a couple of weeks later, my friend came over and we were trying to find things to do, because we lived out in the country, because my older brothers and sisters tried to destroy the neighborhood in town where they were growing up. So my dad packed everybody up, and he moved out to the country where they couldn't destroy anything. They couldn't steal the neighbor's mail, and they couldn't run around the neighborhood and cause all kinds of problems. So he moved us all out to the country where we couldn't get any trouble. And so my friend came out to play, and we were bored. And I think we had played Girly Girls, and we had played Doo-Doo Man, and we couldn't think of anything else to play. And so the only other thing to do was, my neighbor, we had one neighbor on our street, I think, and she had a little house over there that she only lived in once in a while. She would come and visit in the summer for a week or so and then leave. So it was empty most of the time. And so the three of us, my older brother and my friend and me, decided to go snoop around my neighbor's house. And that got boring pretty fast, and so we decided that it would be a good idea to go into the house. And so it just so happened that one of the back basement windows got broken when we pushed on it. And so we could reach in and unlock the back door, and we went into her house and we found some cookies and some crackers and some soda pop. And when we were kids, we didn't drink soda pop. So we thought that was pretty cool. We found some soda pop and some cookies and stuff that we didn't have around the house growing up. And we found my older brother found a rifle. And we found in one of the drawers, me and my friend found some bullets. And we found some money and some other things, some pocket knives, and we stuck those bullets, me and my friend stuck those bullets in the pocket knives and the money in our pockets. And my brother grabbed the rifle, and we took the cookies and the crackers and the soda out in the woods, and we had a little party in the woods. And while we were having our little party, my brother decided he liked the things, you know, I told you he likes to see the way things work. And so he decided to take that rifle apart. And so he took it apart, and it was in a couple of pieces. After we finished our little party in the woods with our crackers and soda and stuff, we decided we were going to go back to where my dad and my uncles used to go and shoot guns. And so we headed across the back field from my neighbor's house, across the back field of my house, and we were just about to enter the woods, way back behind the house, where my dad and my uncles used to shoot guns, and all of a sudden we hear, all of a sudden from way up at the house, from the front of the house, we hear my father yell, "Boys! What are you doing?" And we turned around and we were shaking in our boots. And we said, "Nothing, Dad." And he yells, "Boys! Come here!" So we start walking from the woods, and we start walking up that field, past the old plum tree, and we start unloading our pockets and dropping stuff on the ground as we're walking. My brother has that gun in his hand in two pieces, and he drops one piece, and he drops the other piece, and he keeps walking, and me and my friend go down and sit on a log and start unloading our pockets behind the log. And my dad yells, "Go back and get what you just dropped." And so, being really wise that we were, because we were like 9, and I think my older brother was 11 or 12, being the wise young people that we were, we walked back, and I picked up a couple of rocks by the log, and my friend picked up a couple of sticks, and Paul, my oldest brother, he walks back, and instead of picking up that gun, he picks up 2 sticks, and he turns around and starts walking, and my dad yells, "That's not what you had!" And my dad was way up there at the front of the house. And there's no way he could see that far. But he knew that we didn't pick up what we dropped. And we went back and we picked up the stuff that we dropped, and we took it up to the house, and we went into the living room, and we had to explain everything that we had just done to my dad. And my dad said something very important that day. my dad said, I was around the front of the house, under the car, changing the brakes in the car. And he said, the Holy Ghost told me to come around here and see what you boys were doing. He said, I had no reason to get out from under that car except the Holy Ghost spoke to me and said, go and see what those boys are doing. Now, I don't know if we would have gotten down into those woods, if all three of us boys would have came back out of those woods. I don't know if my brother would have put that gun back together and it would have blown up in his face. I don't know if he would have put that gun together and he would have said, Dan, you better run. Or Dave, you better run. Because we were just boys. We don't know what the consequences of that day would have been. But I know that my dad listened. He listened to the Holy Ghost, and he didn't wait to act. Now that was a fun story about my brother that we were involved in. And you might wonder what my dad did after that. He scolded us and told us not to steal again. Except that's not what my dad did. He called the cops and had us arrested because we were thieves. And my dad was a man who believed in honesty and law. And so he had his 9 and his 11-year-old sons arrested. And he called the police, and they came and lectured us. And I think they were just going to scare us, because I think that Dad talked to the cop out in the front, and he says, I just want you to scare them. And then he would let the neighbor know or whatever. But Paul, he smart-mouthed off to the cop, told the cop he wasn't scared of no cops and all this other stuff. And the cop says, boy, I'm going to take you with me to teach you a lesson. And so me and Dave looked at each other and went, oh crap, Paul's going to jail. I'm glad it's not us. And then he got up with Paul and started heading out the front door to go to jail. And the cop turned around and said, and what are you two boys waiting for? And he took us all to jail. So that sucked. So thanks, Paul, for that awesomeness. Anyhow, I have another story that I want to share. After that fun story,